Joining me from the Party for Progress, the leader, Miss Melissa Gumbs. Good morning, Melissa.
Morning, Elektra. Morning. How are you?
I'm good. And congratulations to you and your team
Thank you.
for getting two seats to Parliament.
Thank you. Thank
How do
you.
you feel?
I feel good. I feel good. MP de Weever is meant to join me, so but she's probably in whatever traffic the weird weather
Okay.
is creating today. No, but I feel good. I feel positive. I think the people sent a clear message once again. As a party, we experienced growth in our overall votes as well. So
Yes.
and maintained the two seats. So yeah, overall we're very happy with the result. And now it's time to go back to doing the work that we thought we were getting to start in May, and hopefully no more disruptions at least for the next 4 years.
Yes, I know a lot of people were disheartened, and people were talking about the 2 by 4 government. It's
Yeah.
not gonna last, and how people talk in our community, don't put goat mouth, and then you guys broke up, and then we were forced to go into the snap elections,
Hmm.
by invoking Article 59, and here we are post August 19th,
Yeah.
and it's like I felt that the community of St. Martin was sending a clear
Yes.
message.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on the outcome, the final outcome of you know the
No,
elections?
it's very shocking.
Hmm.
For I think, especially to see the kind of message that was sent to the opposing to the previous coalition parties. To already in January. Both one lost a seat, both dropped in votes, and now again 6 7 months later, after you assisted with the fall of a government, you see that you have now both lost another seat, and another significant number of votes. So I think that the public also kind of expressed their frustration on not just the people who jump ship, but also on those who assist with the ship jumping. Whether it's by um, facilitating it or encouraging it or so. I think that that's basically what we saw happen on Monday. It's just the people's frustration just coming out because the turnout was also more than I expected.
Hmm.
I think, as I said
A
here
lot
on
of
this
people,
show, I was very
right,
worried about what the turnout would be
right.
because persons are frustrated and angry, but ultimately the turnout, was pretty decent still
Hmm.
for what it was.
Do you think that the continuous challenges that we faced with our electrical company GEBE and had any kind of bearing on the results of the frustrations that our community was feeling?
I believe so. I believe so, especially when the attempts were made to kind of paint, the government that was there since May 3rd as the reason why all of this was happening. And persons are like, well, no, because had 4 years and nothing really moved in GB to prevent this. And I think the people in GB themselves speaking out against that narrative, also kind of pushed persons to a higher point of frustration. You had the former CEO explaining that they had been
Hmm.
warning the previous government about issues they were encountering with the engines and such. And I think you saw that come to bear on Monday. It's at a certain point in time, I think people are starting to also realize that not everything is fact that they're hearing, and they themselves are learning to parse between what is political rhetoric and what is actually fact.
Yes, correct. Well, I think the next hot question would be, and I know that everybody is intrigued and want to know, because we talk about continuation of care in the hospital. Do we see a continuation of care in the government? Like Dr. Marcelina, he was so fortunate to almost double in votes.
Yeah.
Do you think that that will continue, or do you have any insight that you could share with us at this time?
I do believe that there's gonna end up being some continuity, maybe a
Okay.
shift here or there, but
Hmm.
we as a party are big on continuity, on letting the work that has begun already continue, with the people that have begun it, continuing it basically.
Yes.
So I think that that's our personal philosophy. I don't know the how you say what the others might feel,
Yes.
but for us, I would say that that should be the way that it goes.
Hmm.
You part of stability is also continuity, not just in the process and such, but also in the face. I think. And let's face it, normally when we have a fall of government, it's been about 18 months. This was 17 days. So they're you're gonna jerk people now from someone that they've just spent the last 3 months getting accustomed to. It doesn't make sense to me to throw them then to someone else. But that is for other parties to decide. So yeah,
Of
we'll see how
course.
it goes.
Well, of course, Party for Progress has been, continuous in their efforts to grow your party as well. We
Hmm.
saw that you have got two new candidates, Miklos
Yes.
Peterson and Ludmila Duncan,
Yeah.
as part of your team. And for some reason, I thought that PFP would have gotten a third seat.
Yeah.
Did you have that
We had that
anticipation
hope.
too?
We had
Uh-huh.
that hope for sure. And I think we did well in every district coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Yes.
No worries, no worries.
Come right in. Miss MP de Weever is just joining us right now. Thank you
Hey.
for joining us.
Morning.
Morning, morning, morning. Well, of course, how you say, coming back to not achieving your third seat,
Yeah.
I mean, you still went up in
Yeah,
votes.
yeah, yeah. And I think decent growth decent growth in each district as well. And I think that ultimately, there were a lot of parties, 135 candidates.
Uh-huh.
It's for 15 seats, it's quite a bit.
Yes.
But and if you look at the margins, even between the all the parties, the margin many people were actually vying for these votes. Yeah.
Well, you know what is interesting? I'll come to Mr. Weaver, MP de Weaver now. Can I call you Lila? Yes.
Yes, ma'am, you have permission.
Welcome, first time on the show. But I want to congratulate you first and foremost for being the third highest vote getter, was it, or the second?
Second this
Second,
time. Yeah.
second highest vote
Thank
getter.
you.
And of course, it's going to be a very interesting start of events as we move forward, because everybody is like, oh, I was just asking Melissa, about continuity of government care. And what are your thoughts as well on that?
I mean, I've joined a team that has been about continuity and
Yes.
pushing the right projects forward
Mm-hmm.
for St. Martin. So whatever our involvement will be in the process, we're going to continue being consistent with that and stable with it. I think right now priority should be whoever ends up coming together as the government. What is the priorities topics that need to be handled across the
Yes.
board?
Mm.
I've been saying it even on the campaign trail that there's been a couple big topics that have been repeated everywhere you go,
Yes.
and those are the things that need to be taken care of right now. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
repeating it on the air so that everyone is reminded
Yeah.
again. The biggest part that I saw that people kept repeating when it came to education, for instance, was dealing with autism, with kids that have autism, because
Special needs.
Yes.
yeah, so it's kids on the spectrum,
Yes.
and a lot of people have decided. I met more people this campaign term going away to the
Yeah.
Netherlands to be able to have the right services for their kids.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that was very unique on this campaign trail 7 months later that I didn't have the opportunity to be exposed to at the January trail. And then, of course, the same thing is about our living, like our living wage,
Yes.
our
Yeah.
earning potential, our buying power. Of course, housing remains an issue for people, so we
Mhm.
need to just figure out how to be creative with that from that side of it. And then medical care, getting people here permanently rather than having visitors come.
Come in and
The
go.
big complaint I had, was a 93-year-old who said, I have 50% sight in one ear and I need to, they were making me remaining in one, sorry, not one eye.
Yeah, one eye.
And sorry,
It's-
sorry,
we
I feel
haven't
like
slept.
I'm
It's okay. I'm like,
I have
sorry.
not slept. I don't sleep enough.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, but these days I don't sleep enough. But they have 50% sight remaining in one eye, but they have to wait 3 months. Now,
Yeah.
this is not any complaint on the doctors or whatever. I said, but right now everybody's having that one complaint.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that SFA is bad or hospital is bad. It means we're lacking something.
Yes.
So again, I just list this off. You asked me about continuity. Continuity, yes, is making sure certain things stay stabilized so that things don't get, change up abruptly within the ministries. But we also have priorities that have to be taken care of, and we just listed those off.
I think it's very interesting that you touched on those particular topics, because it's like for instance, I have something in my throat. This is my way of living. And it happened to me personally
Yes.
where I called and I said, I need an appointment for my throat.
Yeah,
And it's
ENT.
like 3 months. I was like, what?
Yeah.
This is my living,
Yes.
this, I need to see a specialist. So I was forced to, go to the front side and get that immediate help that I needed. So I understand where it pertains to that immediate development priority
That's the
for
priorities,
that
right?
care for the
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Because many times when you hear that people are being sent away to different countries, you always hear, why did it take you so long to get here?
Yeah.
And then they reach, it's like, oh, there's nothing much we can do for
Yeah.
you. It's unfortunate. So it's very good that these priorities have been
Yeah.
set forth. And I do hope whoever comes together to form the new government of St. Martin really pushes that through. And I know it's going to take a lot of hard work. Melissa, I mean,
Mhm.
you've been the leader for Party for Progress for quite some time now. Of course, this is something we have to target. You, Ludi, joined them recently as well. And then you seem to be getting more votes and more votes. What does this mean for your party as a leader, Melissa?
Got a question for
Seeing
me?
that
Oh.
Absolutely
Ludi.
nothing.
No, I'm just asking, because
No,
something people
I think
are
we've
seeing
also
too.
I think we've also prided ourselves on getting away from that individualism kind of ideal of St. Martin, where
Okay.
it's like vote count means something. It means something in the sense of who goes in.
Right.
Ever since the introduction of the lynch law, because that also it basically means who goes in. But ultimately for us it has always been about who is best for the job,
Got it.
I think. And I think too, we also talk a lot about cultivating leaders within the party, and that's fine. But ultimately, yeah, as Ludi said, for her, I don't. I
I just
think.
said
I think a
nothing.
lot of times people look at being a party leader and think it's fun and games, or you can beat your chest and call yourself leader. It's a lot of work.
Of course it is.
It's a lot
Because,
of work.
at the
And
end of the day, you're the leader. So,
yeah,
your
yeah.
candidates look up to you. You have to take care of a lot of things.
I even
you
made a
know?
joke, I think, in January. Was like, so eventually, so what is, you want to, and like, I think between Louis, Ray, everybody was like, absolutely not, because
Mhm.
it is a big effort. Not to say that nobody can't do it,
Right.
but I think you have to want to kind of do
No,
it.
but I think
And if you
it's
sleep it
good.
now, I mean,
No, but I want to actually say something about that too. I think sometimes people get distracted
Yes.
as to why we are here, like why we get involved. We get
Mhm.
involved to do the work for the country.
yeah,
And you also will get distracted if there's going to be an internal power struggle for leadership, just for the sake of a
Yes.
title of leadership.
Mhm.
I know other parties that are having that issue.
Mhm.
No matter which way they want to try and sell it that they are not having that issue, they do. Stop
joking.
it. No, but again, why are we getting distracted by that? That is not the purpose of it. And some people have said, oh yeah, but you get votes twice higher. That's not the purpose. I didn't come here to fight Melissa for leadership. I came here to fight for the country, to be able to represent you, whether it's legislative or executive. That's the purpose of the job. And again, it does not take away from anything that we're working towards. And I don't want people to be distracted by that thought, because that is not the purpose of it. The purpose is not vying for leadership of a party. The purpose is vying for the best leadership for your country, which means that is in one of your 15 positions or one of your other appointed 7 positions.
Yes.
That's a distraction right now that we don't need. And what happens is, if you're going to start putting all your energy towards that, you're going to be missing out all the energy you should be putting in the rest of the work.
Well, I'm so glad that you vocalize that and verbalize that to the community of St. Martin. That
So they just brought it up.
yes,
Yeah.
I think it's important, and the way how you brought it forward. It's about doing what's best for the country. You postulate yourself because you have passion, you have love, you want to make a difference for your party, and if you understand that versus that infighting that you will have with various other parties, then yes, you will get internal disruptions and disagreements. I mean, of course, you have disagreements in any relationship, in a matter of power and stuff like that. But it's very, how you say, refreshing to hear you vocalize and verbalize this. And I mean, going forward now, of course, is about rolling up the sleeves and getting
and
to
there's
work.
a lot of work
That's
to
the
do.
work. That's
And there's
the
a
work.
lot of work.
Uh-huh.
That's the work. And the thing, like I'm going to say this to you again publicly. Melissa is the glue that keeps the party together.
Yes, yes.
You know, I know that they get annoyed when we contact her directly, but she's the person that I decided to run with.
Yes.
It was her. It was her leadership style.
Correct,
So,
correct.
So I wanted to put that there. That's the glue right there.
Well, you know,
Whether you like it or not.
no, but it is good to have these types of open, candid, internal conversations, because that also gives people that hope, that feel of transparency and openness towards, you know, the greater audience. I mean, when we look at our snap elections, you know, a lot of things have been going on in our country. And, you know, as a constituent myself, I felt like, you know, don't they realize that we are a part of a bigger network?
Yeah.
You know, and it made me feel sometimes, I'm gonna say it publicly, very ashamed. You know, ashamed, like, oh, you know, I'll tell you a funny story. I was just recently in the Netherlands,
Yeah.
and I'm driving in the car and with the AC and the children and the music, and we're listening to a radio station, a random radio station on the Netherlands radio. And all of a sudden, I hear St. Martin, and of course, your ears creak up, and then you hear the ugly stories as what was pertaining to one of the shootings that happened.
Yeah.
That hurt me
Yeah.
so bad. My stomach hurt for days.
Yeah.
For days. You know, it made me feel so bad, and it was like all over the Netherlands news, you know?
Yeah, and I think awareness of like our place in the world is something that we've also talked a lot about. Like,
Yes.
I find it always funny when people think that these things happen internally as a country,
Like we're in a bubble.
when you have social media and everything else that is basically broadcasting your every move to the world.
Right.
When our government fell in May,
Mhm.
I didn't learn about it from you or Super or G or Lady Grace. I learned about it from a radio station in Curacao,
Wow.
texting me to ask me, "Hey, is this true?" And I'm texting them like, "Guys,
That's crazy. So
yeah,
no, but it happens because sometimes, like you said, sometimes I have a friend that's in the Netherlands. She's sending me, wow, this happened. I said,
one
"But
of
you
my
live in the
old
Netherlands."
college friends from Miami
It's crazy.
texted me as we were sitting down talking to each other after the immediate fall of government, like, "Why y'all on your nonsense again?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Your government just fell." I'm like, "How do you even know this?"
Because of you, to keep in touch with what's going on.
it's so funny that, you know, like the outside world sometimes know
Yeah,
what's happening
better than us, to be
before
honest.
we even get the news.
Yeah.
It's disheartening, and I hope, I really do hope that things do change in the future for Parliament. And I mean, now we have some other faces in Parliament. Are you
Yeah.
excited about that? I mean, a lot of young
Yeah,
faces
yeah.
in
I think that
Parliament.
is the most shocking
Yeah.
part of things. You know, I think this is the first time since the 70s or 80s that there's not a Marlin in Parliament.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now that you say it,
Yeah.
didn't think about it
in,
like
in
that.
in some type of role. So yeah,
Yes.
it's fresh. Yeah,
What do
wanna
you think, Ludi?
grab it.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. I didn't look at
And
it.
that's
She was
all,
like-
folks.
she was- I think St. Martin sent a message
Uh-huh.
to the voters. Before I continue, I want to tell them again, thanks for coming out to vote.
Yes.
Yeah.
But St. Martin sent a clear message.
Very
and
clear.
and the message is continue playing around with our country, continue making us a laugh and stop where we feel ashamed, like you just said.
Yeah.
Yes.
Across the board, the
Yeah.
results shocked all of us. And then the message to the MPs coming in should also be like, well, you better try, better straighten up yourself
Yeah.
and do things for your country, do things right.
Yes.
Because there's all time, everyone looks Parliament of standing up and grandstanding, but no, there's a lot of stuff in Parliament that needs to get done. So I think I'm going to take, a page out of Melissa's book before I even joined PFP, where they were like, we really need to consider how we do things in Parliament so that we can actually focus on legislation.
Yes.
And even yesterday, I told her, I said, it looks like that Latino spending might be cut so that we can get legislative lawyers. And we said it, and that's the page that I said. We need to now do a self-assessment and be like, is this priority right now?
Mhm.
So that we could actually do the work for the people, because we had 7 months delay basically of being able to do any proper parliamentary work
Yeah.
because of this whole ruckus of government falling.
Right.
So right now I'm putting it out there again into the ether, as in we need to consider whether or not we cut a little bit of spending and put it towards some legislative lawyers
Yeah.
so that we could focus on the small changes that we can make with the big impact in our legislation across the board.
Well,
So
I
the
think
parliamentarians need to mature. They need
yes,
to grow up.
I think you're hitting the nail on the head where it comes or pertains to self-reflection in Parliament,
Yes.
seeing that you all are the highest legislative
Yes,
part of
exactly.
the whole government and the country. I think that people look to you. You are the overseers
Yeah.
of what government does day-to-day operations. But again, I'm gonna bring it forward to Melissa. She's like, you're coming with this again. I want to propose something to you all. Now
Mhm.
you're here, so I'm putting it to you. I put it to the new MP, Darrell York. I put it to all the other politicians that were here. Ministers, we always have press briefings. So I
Mhm.
want to propose to you all that when you're thinking about self-reflection and hoping to bring about change, that parliamentarians also do press briefings so people can also hear, okay, I voted for Ludi, I voted for Melissa, I
Yeah.
voted for Daryl, I voted for Omar Ali, I voted for all the other politicians, but what have you really been doing?
Yeah.
What have you really been doing? Yes, there's public press briefing, for central committee meetings and all that kind of stuff, but I voted for you.
Mhm.
So I want to know, what have you been doing in
Mhm.
your week off,
Mhm.
for instance?
Yeah.
That people, because you represent the entire population for St. Martin. So
Yeah.
how can you make new amendments or come up with new laws if your heartbeat or your ear is not in tune with the people that you've got to represent and let them know, hey, I'm doing this, or let's have a conversation.
Yeah.
What do you think? That's what I want to propose to
I
you,
that
that you all
that could be a
put
good
that.
idea. I think
Mhm.
as a party, we also from since January had our a Sunday live stream,
Uh-huh.
basically. Yeah,
Yes.
because I recognize that it's good to update persons on what is
Yes.
happening in Parliament. So that's
Mhm.
something that is going to resume now that it's everything is over, and that's something that's going to resume and continue. And I think that was going quite well, actually. Like, we would be able to take questions on that stream, answer them right away from persons that at first I would see people pop up that I'm like, but I know that they're not necessarily a PFP supporter, but they are getting an update from Parliament, and that's why they're watching. So I think that has to continue, because I agree that you have to let people know, well, what are you doing spending your time, whether it's a meeting week or a non-meeting week.
Right.
So I would talk about incoming documents that had been received, questions that I'd asked, and such. So
But that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
You have been doing it,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it would be nice to have it across the board.
I'm sure, just like most of our campaign stuff was copied, they're probably going to copy that too and continue it. So it's okay. I'm willing to be we're willing to be the inspiration.
It's so funny on the campaign trail. I said, take our ideas. I seen them on the boards. Take the manifesto. Just copy it, because the ideas are good for the country. Just continue copying them.
Well, they say copying is a form of
Flattery.
flattery.
Yes,
sure.
and I said that
I feel
too out
super
here.
flattered.
I said that too out
So
here.
I just really do hope that we see a difference in the way how Parliament
Yeah.
behaves.
And then
Mhm.
sorry to cut you off, Elektra, but
Yeah.
there are, as Ludi said, there's a lot of things that have to be done from a parliamentary side. A discussion that started before government fell was actually this regulating of independent members of parliament, which also was a big cost factor.
Yes.
Yes.
And even the then independent members were like, guys, this is a little ridiculous, So it's, I think, coming from that, it came from MP, former MP Halligan Martin, and like yourself and Duncan and such, like, to like, no, this has to be regulated,
Right.
to make it less attractive for people who are jumping for personal selfish reasons.
Mhm.
Let me put it
So,
like that,
and
because I want to also say that we've said before, there are reasons to declare yourself independent
yes.
that are very valid, but then there are reasons
Like mine. I'm just joking.
yeah, no, I mean, but then there are reasons that are really, that's what it's, and I think that people are also kind of seeing the difference in that now.
But do you
So
think,
but that is a big cost factor. You
Yes.
get staff,
To staff.
you travel, it's a lot.
yeah,
So
but let me ask you, do you think that also has to do with electoral reform? Do you think that is something that they're connected in somehow?
regulating independent members of parliament is a form of electoral reform. And that's the
Yes.
thing too. Everyone thinks you have to change the constitution, etc. We have to decide how we want to set forward with our electoral reform. Things can be a matter of simple regulation. It could be a matter of a law. I talked a lot about how other parliamentary democracies do it. and handle it. But ultimately, you can't legislate character.
I
Persons, yeah. And so you have to find ways to combat that character differently.
I always thought that the system was kind of strange because it's like, you have to be on a political party to be part of an election.
For sure.
But of course, out of those 100 and odd number candidates, you get only 15%.
Yes.
Mhm.
And when the how you say, the electoral bureau comes and says, okay, it's not PFP, you got two seats, but they're going to give you your independent letter. So it's like you're independent because you got the amount of votes allotted to you. Ludi got the amount
Mm.
of votes. So it's like you're still individual 15 people when you go into
Yeah.
the
The party is
Parliament.
the party is the vehicle for
Yeah.
sure.
Yes.
But the party is also kind of what sets the ideology and such for how
Correct.
the faction operates.
Correct.
The thing is, there should be a point where you can disagree, and if the disagreement internally has not been worked out, I can understand where, some persons are like, no, like I can't do this anymore. I can't continue along with this. And that's okay, because if I was part of a party that is gonna come with like let's say a 3% increase on wage tax.
Yes.
And I'm like, are you crazy?
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna suffocate the people even more than they're already suffering,
Right.
and no one is willing to listen to that argument. You can then say, like, it's not working anymore. That is a parliamentary democracy. That's how it works in all of them around the world. Again, it's how you want to regulate that, to protect your democracy from persons who would use it for nefarious reasons, because maybe it could be that XYZ didn't get a contract from
Correct.
the minister that I wanted them to get, and that's why I'm going independent.
Understood.
That's also it. So there has to be a
wasn't bad.
balance and a counterbalance, basically.
No, no, I understand that, and I really do hope that this time around, hopefully within the 4 years. I know that laws take a very long time to go through the motions and all of that, but then also to be executed.
Yeah,
That's
the
something.
ratification. Yeah.
Yes, that is kind of lacking
Correct.
as well, because I'm sure over the years, over these 14 years, many laws have been amended and stuff like that, but some of them are not executed.
Yeah.
And
Or it takes a while.
yes,
Yeah,
it takes a long time. So going forward, what can we expect from the Party of Progress, Louis?
How about we wait until formation so that we can tell you where we go with that?
Well, you can maybe inspire some ideas.
No, besides the ones that I'm having some difficulty with this mic here.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. We're currently under renovation.
Right.
So we're gonna get all new stuff soon.
Besides the items that I mentioned earlier on
Yes.
that are priority, I think from my side, with the support that I had from the party as well, is for us to continue pushing for the financial related
Yeah.
items that relate to tax reform.
Mhm.
On a big side, I mean, that for me has been a big deal for a long time.
Okay.
Another one that we've also been a big advocate of is just trying to get this balance of development with our environment going at the same time, just to protect what little remaining sort of waterways we have and figure out ways that we can
Green spaces. Yeah.
increase the how do you say, the awareness and protection of it.
Yes.
And the water part of it is the most important. The
Yeah.
maritime is important to us as well. Just trying to kind of create a level playing field
Mhm.
with our neighbors to the north, the French side.
Yeah.
That
Right.
those items are the quickest that come off bat for me. Besides the
Yeah,
others
and,
that
and to
you might be
continue the
ready.
financial part of it, the amendments to the accountability ordinance, and also the decree for tendering, regulating how government tenders, actually setting a process and a policy for it to be streamlined, because right now it's kind of ad hoc per ministry. Every
Mhm.
terms of reference is a little different. Every tendering process goes a little different, and that's not how it should be when you're talking about spending public money. That's not how it goes when private companies are spending their own money. So it should not be when the government is spending your money, basically. So that's also something that, along with the tax reform, that has to be, I think, the primary thing, because everything else that you want to accomplish is
All
going to
depends on
require money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all
Yes.
depends on money.
Yeah.
For sure. Another question that I think it's empowering, as seeing that there has been a shift qua women in politics. And I think I want to address that.
Hmm.
Women becoming more involved in the political sense of the word, helping our community develop. What are your views on that? Because we have Shamita Roseberg, we have Melissa, we have Ludi, we have Grisha, we have Sarah. Did I mix one? There's five ladies now
Yeah.
in Parliament, and that is something for me very significant. What are
Yeah.
your thoughts about that, both of you?
No, I think it's very important. If you look at those countries where women form a predominant part of the political process, like that really does shift and drive change.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that in Parliament now, maybe that we hopefully have a bit of a stable run, we can actually continue what we had discussed right before government fell, which is the reviving of a women's caucus in Parliament. That's something that MP Westcott Williams had discussed previous term. It never really went anywhere, but now we want to also kind of revive that and
Okay.
focus on those topics that most impact women from a health perspective, from a professional perspective,
Right.
and so forth. So yeah, I don't know.
No, that one's great. That's a great initiative by MP Westcott Williams, to also include the former like MPs and senators as well, and
Yes.
ministers. And so that I really hope that we can
Yeah.
get cracking on that as well. But for me, in terms of women and leadership, I do believe that we need to be there more.
Mhm.
We need more representation across the board, because I said this last week in an ad hoc sort of interview, that I don't want to alienate anyone by saying, oh, women, and then alienate the men, because I know we have some male voters
Of
and I
course.
appreciate them all. But there's something about women when they get together, they do get things done. And I don't want people to sort of feel like, everything is okay in St. Martin when it comes to equality of like to
Yeah,
gender equality,
gender
Yes.
equity and
because
equity.
it is
Yeah.
not. It
Yep.
is not equal.
You went to that.
Especially Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right.
That
Women's
parliamentary thing.
gender equality for women for the UN that I went to. It was last year.
Last year.
October. But we are not equal. And the story that I like to say is when I was in Parliament last year, and I had the then President of Parliament saying that we never had all this drama in Parliament when we had
Less
when we
women.
had, when we had less women.
Yes.
And that one kind of cut through me like really hard, because
Yeah.
I was like, I'll remember this for the day that the question comes up, because
Mhm.
it was a very chauvinistic thing to say.
Yeah.
And this is why I said, like, I don't want people to think just because you don't hear about it enough that it means that we are equal. We're not
Yeah.
equal. It's still very much male dominated. This sort of like masculine energy that is like only we can get it done. No.
Yes.
Let me tell you what women are doing all the time. They're managing their households. They're
Mhm.
managing their children. I don't think most people can deal with the pain that they
Managing
have to
their
deal.
husbands, actually.
Yes, we're managers. We're natural born managers already.
That's true.
So you need that balance in everything in life, and you need the female representation more so in government, because of the fact that we get things done. We get things done very well, and we bring a nice balance to things when you feel like you get all this masculine energy and ego in an area where it's also maybe so heated that you need someone with a little finesse and a little bit gentler touch to kind of just come and be like, it's going to be okay. Let me just give you a different perspective on it. And for me, that's a very important influence there. But I also want to send a message out to women that, even though it's not easy, we're also used to putting up with a lot. We're
Yes.
used to dealing with a lot, handling a lot, managing a lot of stress. And I would really, really want to basically ask a lot more women to get involved in it. Don't shy away, because when you're in public office, Melissa takes a lot of heat. I take a lot of heat. The other women take a lot of heat. They say, "Oh, women are emotional," or whatever. That's going to be the worst thing they could say about us, is that we're emotional. But hey, surprise, surprise. Men have emotions too.
Of course.
It's not just on us, but I do want to encourage women to get out there and get involved, because when I go through the community, especially if I'm dealing with social development work, what I'm seeing most of the time are women in that field, and we need that kind of character also in government, because it keeps that connection with community and compassion, and you need that to balance things out.
And I think you hit the nail on the head right there, and that's why I felt it important to ask you that question when it comes to women in our community. Not only that, but it's part of who we are as a heritage.
Yeah.
We are
Yeah.
Walichi,
Yeah.
Yeah.
land of many
And
strong and,
yep.
and powerful women. And
Very
to
true.
see that the turn of events is happening slowly but surely, it's a real inspirational feeling to see more and more women getting involved in leadership
Yeah.
roles.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's so many things that we can talk about here this morning, ladies, and unfortunately, we'll be out of time. So I want to give you, a few minutes, Ludi, to, say thank you to your friends, to your voters, to your country as the new MP for this term.
Thank you for the time. This wasn't a very easy election to go to run, to experience because of the quickness of it.
Yeah.
That's why I will always keep telling every single person that came out to vote, thank you for doing that.
Yes.
I it shows that where I have aligned myself with Party for Progress works for me personally in the sense of the messaging that I get out to the public. But I don't think it would have worked out any other way if I was
Mhm.
if I mean I know that I can't predict the future, but I have an experience before of once somewhere and now twice somewhere. And that is working for me. Whatever I'm doing with the Party for Progress has been working for me in terms of getting the messaging out there, keeping connected with the community. And I will continue to do that along with the rest of the team, with Melissa, with Rayon, with Patrice, with everyone in Party for Progress. And I just want to tell everybody, thank you for giving us a chance. Thank you for letting our votes increase. Thank you for spreading the word out there of
Yeah.
what the gold standard brings to St. Martin. And we will continue making you proud. That's
All
about
right.
it.
Well, thank you,
Yeah.
MP De Weever. Congratulations once again. And we look forward to all the different ideas that hopefully we will be presented on the floor of
Yeah.
Parliament. Looking forward to a different altern, maybe upliftment of Parliament and stuff like that. So we will be watching you.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
And Melissa?
No, thank you to everyone that came out to vote. I know that it was a very frustrating campaign, one that shouldn't have happened, but it did. And I think the people, I also want to thank the people for sending that message.
Uh-huh.
You sent it in January, you thought it had been clear, but this time around you decided, no, let's send it a little stronger, a little louder. And I hope that it's been received this time. And we are looking forward to continuing, not starting, continuing the work that was already begun back when, January, the dust had settled. So looking forward to that. And thank you, Elektra, for inviting us on for the post-election chat.
All
Yes,
right. Well,
thank
there
you.
you have it. Party for Progress. Of course, women in politics, also a very important aspect as we see more women